Hello, welcome. Here we are. We're on the couch yet again with another rock star of the author world. There he is, Mr. John Connolly. Welcome, sir.
Did I buy this couch for you especially?
This is my nap couch.
Is it really?
Yes.
Yeah. It feels slightly soiled at this end.
This is my.
I'm just wondering.
This is the meeting room. Yeah, nap time. Game of Ghosts. This is Charlie Parker, book 15.
15 novels, 16 stories.
Oh,
yeah, there was a novella somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, I was just reminiscing about my life is now attached to John and certain authors. When they bring out a new book, I get older, and thanks for making me feel older.
That's okay. It's only consolation. You're looking older.
Yeah,
well, so it's not just feeling older.
I know it's a terrible thing. So how are you set for this? All excited to get it out there, and what's the feeling on this one?
It's. I still get nervous.
Yeah.
I still, right at the beginning, I remember thinking that I didn't want to be one of these guys who's churning out their book a year and not doing anything different with it, because you can trade. People read mystery fiction with characters, and their affection lies with characters. So I can write something else, and people go, "It's not Charlie Parker. I'm not picking it up." They want the Charlie Parker thing, and you can trade on people's goodwill a lot because they will forgive a bad book for the time they got to spend with the character.
Yeah.
And it's actually very hard to disenchant readers enough that they won't read your books.
Yeah.
So I never want to take advantage of people in that way. So each one you try to be a little bit different. And so I'd spend a year essentially writing ghost stories, because I'd spent a year writing night music. And what I often find is the things that aren't Parker books feed into the Parker books.
Yeah.
So having written ghost stories for a year, it's not surprising that the next Parker book would itself be a kind of ghost story. And what always surprises me is that I always think, they're never going to go with this. This is just too far.
Yeah.
And actually people do, no matter how strange the Parker books have gone. Because I think, as you say, it's 15 books, and each one has got a little step closer to the oddness.
Yes.
And so it's not like a huge leap. People have gone a little step further into the forest each time, and now they're kind of going, well, I may as well stick with this till the end to see where we're going. So I've gone too far now.
Yeah. And as regards the character himself, like you're saying, like you just don't want to, regurgitate. How have you found he as a person? Like, with these type of characters, they're always somewhat flawed. Has he regressed in part? What have you found interesting about his journey?
Well, I think there are a couple of things. The first is that I've always let him grow older. I used to love Robert B. Parker's Spencer books. Yeah. But Parker made the decision that some writers do, which is to keep their character kind of 40s.
Yeah.
Early. So they can kick doors down and they're still tough guys.
They're not hamstring.
But they never really develop because there's it's like being trapped in adolescence in a way. So Parker has got older. He has a family. He's less troubled than he was. I think he kind of knows what he's here for. And he's found a way, I think, to turn his anger into something useful, which is, it's almost like he uses people as a flag of convenience. He can say, well, I have this rage inside me, and I can get some of it out by acting on behalf of somebody who's been abused or somebody who has justice has failed. And so it's a reciprocal relationship in a way. And then the other thing I suppose in the books is that I very consciously, we're both kind of fans of fantasy and science fiction. And in fantasy and science fiction, it's not unusual to have a saga, a story that goes on over a series of books, and each book is a piece in that saga. It wasn't usual in mystery fiction. Mystery fiction tended to like discrete mysteries where the detective never seemed to have a memory.
Yeah.
So it's the difference between, I suppose, an episode of Columbo and an episode of The Wire or The Sopranos, where part of the pleasure of it was knowing that this was just a piece in a puzzle, whereas part of the pleasure of Columbo was that it never changed. And so, these books, if you read them in order, it's quite clear that you're getting pieces of a much larger story in the background. You can pick up any book at any stage and enjoy it, I hope. But if you do read them in order, you're getting a slightly different reading experience. And so that helps the character develop because there's a momentum in the background. That's
the thing I was just thinking, and then funny enough, my next question was this, like, was it as a series as you're writing it, or like, with your love of fantasy and sci-fi and all that, was there an overlying arc that was always there in your head and we're heading towards an ultimate end game, whether it's book 20 or whether it's never, or has you've just found that actually that just made complete sense to you?
Well, I think, what happens when you publish your first book is that you get completely taken by surprise. Because most writers never imagine they're going to be published. And suddenly your book is on a shelf and they're going, well, where's the next one? And I wrote 4 books in Parker books over 4 years. And then thought, actually, I've accidentally become a writer. Because I never really expected to be a writer. And then I took 2 years off and did other things to try and think about what I wanted to do in the series. So the first books are 4 books up to the White Road are kind of self-contained. They form a kind of unit. And then the book's beginning now with the Black Angel. And with the Black Angel, I knew what I wanted to do, which was that actually I realised I'm going to be able to do this for a while, you know.
Yeah.
And maybe I can be slightly more ambitious, and maybe I can create a mythology, and maybe I can have a series that interweaves different stories. And part of the pleasure for the reader will be finding out where the ultimate story ends up. And that's been the case, I think.
Excellent. I suppose again over the many years of your like crime itself as a genre has been like it's always been hugely popular. US set crime, especially in Ireland, we've always done really well with. How have you felt? Like obviously we've had things like the Nordic wave came in, you know, the unreliable narrator. Like how have you, you know, is the biggest changes you've seen over the years in crime itself?
I think Nordic wave is kind of past. I think we've probably seen the best of the classic stuff published, I think. And also they were quite similar. What I found is that it was very hard to tell a Finnish mystery from a Swedish mystery. They all tend to be kind of gloomy. Except for the Icelandic ones, they all had a bit of a sense of humour. I think what's been interesting is seeing the model of crime fiction that's emerging in Ireland. Because, you know, we hadn't really done, for most of the 20th century, we didn't write much crime fiction. We didn't write much genre fiction at all. It was almost as if, and I think that's been a real flaw, in that it was almost that it wasn't serious enough, and if you wanted to be part of the great literary pantheon, you weren't going to get there by writing fantasy novels. And you know, fantasy literature in particular was so much a part of our character. The great fantasy writers of the 19th century are Anglo-Irish Gothic writers. And something similar happens with crime fiction. And then we had kind of from 2002, 2003 on, we had a growth, a sudden explosion in crime writing that hadn't been there before. What's interesting, a lot of the male writers have kind of fallen by the wayside slightly. Not necessarily fallen by the wayside, but their sales are not as high as the female writers. And the model for Irish crime fiction that seems to be emerging, I think, is one that's very psychological, very female-driven. You know, certainly the leading Irish writers writing about this country are all female writers. You know, Liz Nugent, Jen Casey, people like Sinead Crowley coming up. So I think that's been interesting for me to see that model developing. And I hope, you know, that the male writers go along as well. And there are still very fine male writers writing, but the public appetite seems to me to be moving towards female writers and primarily psychological thrillers.
Fascinating. Listen, we literally, the reason there's a couch here because we could sit here for days. But we're not even going to touch on nerdy stuff. Today is not the day to talk about how amazing Kong is. Today is not that day. Listen, John, it's been absolutely fantastic. Good luck with this. We will see you later in the year for the other book. I'm not going to say
which we can talk about.
Which we can talk about. Very exciting stuff. So thank you very much.
Thank you to you. And thank you. Easons have always been so supportive of me over the years.
Next book I see, I'll be older again. Thank you very much. Brilliant.
Sorry about that.
Thank you.